Hello and welcome to Steep Tea Gaming. Just thought I'd share some impressions on the Kirby and the Forgotten Land demo that recently released. Now, this is my most hyped game of the year, which is a little bit sad since it's a game marketed towards children, but that says a lot more about the state of AAA gaming than anything. There are a lot of really promising indie titles coming out that I am looking forward to though. But I digress. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is Kirby's first true foray into the 3D platforming genre. There have been some 3D titles in the past, but they have all been spin-offs. The first trailer for the game showed some similarities to Super Mario Odyssey, with Kirby having the ability to possess inanimate objects such as a car, pylon, and soda machine, on top of being able to absorb enemy abilities. There was speculation that it would also be a more open experience, similar to Mario Odyssey, where you could tackle a bunch of challenges in whatever order you wanted. That is not the case. It's a more linear experience like Super Mario 3D World, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just different than some people were hoping and expecting. There are two difficulty modes. Spring Breeze mode is the easy mode, and Wild mode is the normal difficulty mode. If you played the last Kirby game, Star Allies, and were bored by that game as I was because it felt like it played itself, you will be happy to know this is more challenging. That's not to say this will be the Dark Souls of Kirby games, but if you play mindlessly, you will be hit by enemies. The 3 stages in the demo appear to be early stages in the final game, so I do expect it to get more challenging later on. So let's dive deeper into this. The big question is, did Kirby make a successful leap into 3D? Yes, I think the developers really nailed the art style, level design, power-ups, and controls. It feels like the 2D experience in 3D. You're still inhaling enemies and using their abilities while running and flying from point A to point B, and I think all of this is a good thing if that's what you were looking for. Those looking for a more open experience or something extraordinarily different from the core Kirby experience may be disappointed. I mentioned earlier that it's more similar to Mario 3D World than Odyssey due to its linearity, but there is a little room for exploration. Not much, but there are optional Waddle Dees that you can discover and save, so you can find yourself walking or flying off the beaten path a little bit. Speaking of Mario Odyssey, Kirby has the new Mouthful mode, where he can possess inanimate objects which each have special abilities, like the car being able to smash through rocks, and the soda machine being able to fire projectile cans. The graphics are cute and charming, with lots of bright colors. The characters look the way you'd expect them to look in 3D, and I think that's helped by the fact that Kirby, as well as his allies and enemies, have always been simple in design. Kirby is a ball with hands and feet. He has eyes and a mouth, and I love that despite the character's simplicity, he is capable of looking very expressive at times. The environments are a mix of lush greenery and abandoned rundown buildings, creating a beautiful and contrasting world. The music and sound effects are good. They sound like what you'd expect from a Kirby game. Nothing mind-blowing thus far, but I am expecting catchy, high-quality tunes throughout. Now, let's talk about the not-so-good things. The game's visuals do look pretty, as I've already stated, but enemies that are farther into the distance are rendered at a much lower frame rate than the ones close to you. And to be frank, it looks pretty bad when you notice it. Now, I didn't notice it all the time, and it's more of a problem in the bigger, more open areas, but when I did notice it, it really took me out of the experience, and just came across as lacking that Nintendo polish I love. Now, this isn't the first game to do this, and I'm sure it won't be the last. The game is releasing later this month, so I'm sure it will be in the final product, which is a bit disappointing. I also noticed some frame drops, but it was only once. Overall, what I've seen and played so far has left very positive impressions. The visuals, music, controls, and gameplay are all solid. If the rest of the game provides more variety in level design, enemies, power-ups, and challenge, building on the strong foundations found in the demo, then I expect Kirby's first adventure in a 3D world to be a very worthwhile one for fans of the series. As someone that's not a huge fan of Kirby games, having played most of them but only completing a couple, I will have to wait and see if the final game does enough to retain my interest throughout. From what I've played and seen from the trailers, I'm expecting it will. Kirby and the Forgotten Land releases March 25th, and you can expect my full review shortly after release. Thanks for stopping by. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on any fresh gaming content.